Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another Road to 1800 video. And this time we are extending it to Lichess. So I've had a Lichess account for a while, but haven't featured it on the channel yet. And we are already pretty close to 1800 with every rating on Lichess. I do think Lichess ratings are a little bit higher. Bullet will ride on the brink, Blitz is a little bit over, and I haven't played a lot of rapid games, so I've still got the question mark. 58 games, so maybe it's just because I haven't played rapid games in a while. That it's giving me the question mark, which I think means it's not a fully official rating yet. But so today we're going to play a rapid game. I'll talk through it a little bit. We'll go 10 plus 5 seconds to give me a little bit of increment. See if we can get above 1800 this video. Maybe we'll drop down and we'll have to do it again. But yeah, this is the last time control we have on Lichess. First time filming it, so I may have to do some adjustments once we get into the game to make sure that the board is lined up perfectly, but we'll find out. One game. Oh. That must be left over from the computer. All right, we have to wait a second to get a rapid game. Oh. Not that long. All right, we're playing white. I have been learning some new theory with the English opening, just trying to mix up my repertoire a little bit, but not good enough to play in rapid. So we're going to stick with e4. Always play knight f3 second move. I always play knight f3 second move and then bishop c4. Looks like we're recording properly. So here black is inviting this attack. And I am going to go into it. I do feel fairly comfortable with the theory here. Knight here, we give a check. I will take this pawn. Playing quickly right now just because at the moment this is theory for me, but this is the last move. So we'll start to slow down a little bit now. Point being here that black can't take the bishop because it is pinned. Targeting the rook. Trying to get a piece out, play a little more aggressively. Black has lots of options here to be just fine. This is one. So here typically just knight back. Takes does not work because of takes the knight and then we take the rook after. Here I wouldn't be surprised if black played this move. On that move I'll probably drop the bishop back to a4. Keep pressure on that diagonal. Black would be looking to castle there. But could also, on bishop e7, take the knight, bishop takes, take the pawn. But at the end, black has bishop d7. That move I was not expecting. I would assume queen takes. And then we take. I'm threatening the bishop. Black does not have this to try to threaten mate. And we may have just missed that. It is still not... If this game ends quick, I may jump into some bullet. And it looks like this is going to. I'd love to force the queen trade, but I can't quite do that yet. I don't want to give... Then they resign. Okay, I was going to play that on. I think I was going to take on b5, threaten the knight, and then look to force a queen trade. Yeah, I think I've been noticing that knight f6 here, inviting... holy cow. Opening name here. Totally blanking right now. I want to say knight attack, but that's not it. I think there's a more official name. common moves here. So this is just the typical Italian game. Black can play here. D6 is pretty normal. Bishop C5 is definitely the main move. Could also consider something like H6 here, which I have seen. I don't think it's the best, but it is an alternative move. Typically, Bishop C4, I stick to my A6 line. Once the bishop comes out, Knight F6 is fine. This has a lot less sting because black can just castle, and then my knight is poorly placed. So that's typically why Bishop C5 first. But after knight here, this is still fine for black, but it is a pretty aggressive and fun way to play for white. You do have to know the theory a little bit. I have mostly learned the theory through this by trial and error and getting caught not knowing the theory in games. D4 is always immediately the response for black. It is the best response. They don't really have another good way to protect this pawn. So D5 here, white takes. Give the check, black blocks, we take, and then there's a lot of options here. You can just drop the bishop back to A4. You can drop it all the way back to E2. Both are pretty okay. I like this Queen F3 idea. A lot of times it seems like black is pretty unfamiliar with this, although they, for whatever reason recently, especially on chess.com, I've been getting this line a lot, this position a lot. H6 is not the most common. So typically what black will do here, I was kind of mentioning it, is one of these two moves. Trying to get ready to castle to cover this pawn. The knight's pretty okay right now. I need 2 pawn moves to ever kick it out, because if I ever just go b4 first, the bishop obviously covers that. So the knight looks weak here, but largely it's okay, at least for the time being. This pawn is fairly weak. Generally, if black does something like bishop d7, I'm typically looking to castle and develop like so. This h6 move typically does come. I'm used to seeing it come a little bit later. A knight here is fine, and I think this was just a miscalculation by black. Let's actually go look at the analysis board here just to verify that I'm correct. I think black can take here. I think that's just fine. It's giving a slight edge to white. It actually gives a similar edge here, which is surprising. White takes, and that makes sense. So it wants black to take back with the pawn if you're going to play this way. I still win the rook, but then you can always offer a trade, and black's going to get some counterplay down this file. Taking with the queen, it does not like, and then I called it out that black does not have this because of takes. Obviously they went for it, and the second they went for that, the game was over. That was almost the queen blunder, which they are losing at least 2 pieces. Blocking here was better. Black lets me take the bishop with check as well. Yeah, so that just absolutely skyrocketed our rapid rating. I'll probably end up playing another one. Let's actually, you know what? I was going to play bullet, but let's jump into another one. I still have the question mark, so I need to play a couple more anyways. I want it to be an official rating if I'm going to be above 1800. So we'll give it one more go. That game went fast enough that I think we have time. Got pop up there. There we go. Please tell me that was recording. All right. My capture froze there for a second. I'm going to hope that freeze only lasted about 10 seconds. And that wasn't frozen before the start of the first game. We'll find out. If it did freeze, I'm going to cut the video here. This is going to be the first game you'll see. I won my first rapid game. We're playing a second one. Hopefully it didn't know, and this is game number 2 in the video. All right. Definitely not as familiar with the opening theory in this position, but it should be fairly straightforward. Develop the knight, protect the pawn. We will castle as well. Probably looking for bishop g5 next. I think I will play that. Bishop back is interesting. I think I want it to be on this diagonal. Black can get aggressive if they would like. And they do elect to. Cover the pawn as well. Interesting moves so far from Black. Now, how do I want to proceed? I would love to get e5 in. I don't think that is yet. Yeah, I don't think I want e5 yet. On queen d2, I wonder after bishop takes if I'd want to take with the pawn. I don't think so. I think that's going to create a pretty weak pawn. I'm going to start with queen d2. Yeah, I probably had a better move there, losing a bit of a tempo, but... Okay, I will take that. Do I need to start attacking the pawns pretty heavily here? I'm not in a rush. If that knight ever moves, probably not going to happen, but I could try to hit both of these at once. Black does just go ahead and push, which I'm not unsurprised by. Probably take with the knight here, which I don't necessarily love for Black, just because they are giving me some chances to attack pawns here. I think queen d4 and then rook over. We're going to hit these. I'm expecting a5 here. Yeah, I just missed that one. I don't know why. I like to keep an eye on that pawn if I can. Let's go here. Getting my queen chased around a little bit. Maybe knight up here, rook here, or here would make some sense. Knight there was unexpected. Knight there was unexpected. What would I like to do here? I'm going to start with rook d1. Not afraid of this move, obviously. Rook comes in, which is fine. Here, Black's going to need a couple moves to make use of that pin. I'm not afraid of it yet. Intending to probably go queen d5 at some point. Target this pawn. That's an interesting one. If that knight moves, yeah. I see the point. Knight's going to come in here. It's a valid one. Okay, let's start with this, and then I want this. Attack the queen, try to kick the knight out of knight, jumps in. We have that pawn for the taking. That's an interesting move. Not one that I was expecting. Let's take. And then let's, do I want to jump in? Or do I just push? It seems like just pushing is probably most effective. And c3 is going to be weak, but I am going to have some options. And I should be picking up d6. Knight here. Jump our knight in. Probably take d6 with the queen. Ooh. Is this too aggressive? Probably too aggressive. Okay, I'm going to take here. Knight jumps in. I think this is almost forced. Could look at just jumping the knight back, but man, this square looks pretty nice. That makes sense. I think we just take here. Knight was pinned there. That may not have been... I wonder what I'm doing after this. Probably something like that. Doesn't look good. Black may have missed a chance there. Certainly still looks pretty good for him, though. All right, so I think I have to go here. On check, we step up. And then we can poke at this queen and try to get it away from the diagonal. Rook over makes quite a bit of sense, except for the fact that I can take here. I was looking at the other rook coming over, not thinking that that should just be a free piece. I feel like I'm playing terribly, and my opponents are letting me get away with it right now. Yeah, knight's gonna jump in, but I'm just gonna jump it right here and push these pawns. That should more or less be game over. Got to watch out for any tactics sacking a rook for a knight here. My knight does cover e8 currently, so we should be avoiding that. I don't even know. Do I push? That looks like a really strong move. Could offer the trade, but I feel like that gives black some counterplay. Here they can't take because of the fork. Also threatening to push f6. Oh, I didn't mean to click on. Alright, I will run through this one. I don't know if my rating is going to still have the question mark on it. We can look after. Let's just jump to the analysis board. I'll run through it without the... Why is it still doing it? Okay, we'll try not to look at it. Felt like my position was fairly fine through here. You'll be able to tell I'm not looking at it because the engine will probably just disagree with me. Dropping the bishop back, I wanted it on this diagonal, but that was certainly the right place to go, especially after b4, still managing to keep a piece protecting this pawn. Knight jumps back. Here, I don't think queen d2 is the best move. I think even a move like h3, rook e1 is probably better. Developing a piece, just assuming that if black takes, I'm losing a tempo. And whoops, go back. After a move like bishop h6, or bishop a6, excuse me, surely black's going to take that at some point. I don't think queen d2 is the best. I don't think it was a blunder by any means, but so black offers the trade of the bishops, which I always feel is kind of weak. I think black's dark squared bishop becomes pretty strong. h6 I think is a bit more normal. You could always try to chase my bishop all the way out if you want to, but something like h6 and then trying to close down the position with e5 I feel like is something that I see quite a bit. It doesn't quite work here, but black's only a knight or a rook move away from being able to defend that pawn and really block my bishop out of the game. Oh, I don't know what that was either. More than happy to take the bishop here, bring the rook over, trying to make improving moves. I think one thing that I really struggle with in games generally is once I have a position in the middle game, if the plan is not an obvious attack the opponent's king or target weak pieces, sometimes I struggle to develop a game plan. I'm trying to be better at just improving my pieces on every move, trying to gradually improve my position, not make it worse. Rook e1 is a very simple move, but me trying to move forward in a train of thought. Black plays c5, which in hindsight I don't actually know if I need to take. I think maybe pushing d5 was better here. Push d5, black can always close it down, but then that's where it becomes really nice for my knight. This knight can jump over to here. I think that was probably a mistake on my part. I will look at the engine here. Yeah, it does not like taking. I bet that this is better. Yeah. Wants me to push forward. That makes sense. After knight takes, I did think I was pretty careless here. Trying to get greedy, attack black's pawns, which I think I certainly can do. I think there's a more accurate way to do it. I think here I should have certainly seen that knight c6 was coming and just played queen c4 immediately. Black can push a4 if they want. I have my own game plan to go after there. I don't think this move was the best. The initial thought behind it was to keep an eye on d6 as well. Not saying that this was possible, hopefully playing rook d1 next move. Black can always do this and keep it defended. But I think this was a little sloppy. I did not love this move from black. I felt like here black had a chance to start to blow things open a little bit and maybe develop some initiative. And I feel like this saved me, essentially. All of a sudden, my queen, it felt like, was never going to be in any danger. Rooks are easy to develop. My knights are going to have good squares. Black knights obviously have some squares to access as well. But here, always targeting this square. Wasn't overly concerned about the discoveries. Black needs 2 moves to ever attack my queen. And those knights don't really have any great squares to go at the moment. My queen's escape square is always going to be d5 here. Knight to here, computer does not like. Here, just being hesitant of the discovery. If I were to jump the knight in, queen here, essentially I was a little afraid of this. Ultimately, it's not the end of the world. But I don't want to let black jump to a protected square with an open attack on my queen. pawns and knights are going to be targeted, and I didn't want to allow that. So I moved the queen out of the way. Could have moved it to d5. I was initially afraid of this. I could have just taken the pawn. Did not need to be afraid of this at all. The one positive to it was that I did keep c2 protected if the knight ever jumps. It would be possible for me to defend that pawn. Drop the queen back. And then here, I thought about knight f5 as well. It just didn't seem worthwhile, I guess. I didn't feel like I was going to get enough out of that. I like taking here better, and then this c3 move, with the intent of hitting this d6 pawn at the end. This, I was worried about this becoming a weakness, and I think black had some good chances to target it. I think they got a little overzealous here. Moving the queen away, obviously, to try to avoid the fork, which I think makes sense. I don't think that's a bad move. That does let me take this pawn. And then here, yeah, here they went for the checkmate. And it's just not quite there. Black can always hop here and give a check, but after I step up, that knight is essentially trapped, and the queen can't really protect it because I'm also threatening checkmate. Here black tried the rook move in, which for a split second I thought was okay and was the expected move. And then a half second later I realized that, oh, no, I can just take the knight. So yeah, I thought my position looked pretty good. Obviously, I'm targeting checkmate. Queen is undefended. I was considering after... I was wondering if I was ever going to get away with h4, I think is what I was looking at. I think after the king sidestepped, I lost my enthusiasm for that move. But here they hung the knight. They do trade queens, which is interesting. If you were going to play on, I would think you would keep the queens on the board. But at this point, it was pretty much over. I think black did have some chances to maybe put up a fight, but I think getting this f6 move in, or f5 move in, excuse me, was the killer. It says black can sidestep here, which is interesting. The point was just to create a real solid front. Essentially try to eliminate all counterplay from black. Push the pawn, yeah. But black took, I got the fork. And at that point, the rook is completely hanging, so. King can't come here because the pawn protects. Yeah. It was game over, so pretty good rapid session there. Did not feel like I played incredible. I still got the question mark, so it looks like we're going to have to play again. I don't know how many games I have to play for that to, does it tell me provisional? I am on an 8-game win streak, which started in February of 2023. It's kind of funny. And then I think my last 2 games were 2 of my 3 highest rated. Or no, these 2 were. My last 2 were 2 of my top 5 rated. It's funny. I don't think I have too much else there. On the road to 1800, we are pretty much there. I'm not going to do classical on Lichess. I'm keeping it to bullet, blitz, and rapid right now. We'll do the same on chess.com. All my chess.com ratings, I think, are in the high 16 or low 1700s. So still some work to do on that site, but we are pretty much there on Lichess. I'll probably come over and play another rapid game or 2 to try to make it a non-provisional rating. But blitz and bullet are already there. The goal is to hit these ratings before the end of the year. We'll see if that happens. yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. 2 rapid wins on the board. I don't know if these are more entertaining, if it's better if I talk more, or if I should just be rapid firing some bullet games or puzzles, but I don't know. If anyone has strong feelings, let me know. That'll wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.